Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and today I'm just be officially updating you on some more of the latest news. So if you do consider drop your likes, and if you do consider subscribe to the channel as always. So just going to give you a bit more additional information in regards to Paul Pogba, as I have been updating you on a regular basis, and of course these are lots of other things to currently talk about. But the first topic of development we will start with is Paul Pogba. So recent reports have suggested out, I think it's stemming from the Daily Mail. I think it's also coming from TalkSport, and it's also in quite a few other media outlets. They reportedly have said that Paul Pogba had agreed a contract worth up to around 429 grand a week, with PSG. But reportedly, his move to PSG never materialised because of the saga of Neymar. So reportedly, he had agreed a move to PSG before deadline day. But obviously, according to reports, his move to PSG never materialised because of Neymar. I think there was rumours earlier on in the summer of Neymar possibly making a return back to Barcelona. Obviously we do know that Neymar is the most expensive player in the world. Obviously if Paul Pogba is to leave the football club in January or next summer, obviously he'll be the second most expensive player just behind Neymar, because obviously we've quoted out that we want around 179 million pounds for Paul Pogba in January, of course, if Manchester United are willing to let him go. But PSG anyway, they've spent big in recent years on players. They spent a hell of a lot of money on Neymar. They also spent big on Kylian Mbappe. But actually, PSG, were in for Paul Pogba early on in the summer. I do believe there was tentative link to him. Obviously, there wasn't relentless link to him, like Real Madrid. Also, don't forget, Barcelona were in for Paul Pogba, because recently Paul Pogba's brother has revealed that actually, Paul Pogba, spoken to Lionel Messi. But we do know throughout the course of summer that Paul Pogba was relentlessly linked with move to Real Madrid. Obviously, he had a long running transfer saga, but the good news is, in relation to Paul Pogba, he is staying at the football club at least until January. Because I did say, I give my overall analysis, on it throughout the course of this summer. I did say, the reason that Paul Pogba, didn't make the move to Real Madrid was obviously reflecting on the substantial amount, we put on him, because we quoted out that we wanted somewhere in the region of around 180 million pounds this summer. Obviously, Real Madrid were not willing to meet that valuation, so that obviously, was the stumbling block. At first, we wanted around 150 million, then towards the end of the window, we said we wanted around 180 million pounds from him. So obviously, we was demanding just over double than what we initially, paid from Juventus back in 2016. Obviously, I still believe Paul Pogba is a long-term solution for Manchester United. Obviously, so far this season, he's played in all of our 4 Premier League games. Obviously, he's yet to get his name on the score sheet, but Paul Pogba's had a pretty decent start to this season. I think his performance was below against Southampton. Don't forget, he missed a penalty against Wolves earlier on in the season. Obviously, he was subjected to online racial abuse following that penalty miss, was Paul Pogba, but I'll credit him in that aspect. I thought he handled the situation quite well. But for me, we know the difference Paul Pogba makes in that midfield, when he's at his best. But I thought anyway it was very imperative that we kept him, especially with our failure to land a midfielder in, throughout the course of the summer, because that's one of the priority areas, where Manchester United, needed to strengthen up was that midfield, but we didn't do it, throughout the course of the summer. Obviously, we know that there was rumours going on early on in the summer about possibly Paul Pogba making a return back to Turin, because don't forget, Paul Pogba did have 4 good years in Turin with Juventus, but hasn't, mainly replicated this at Manchester United. Hasn't mainly, replicated this at Manchester United. But recent reports actually, indicated out, saying that, Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, has held negotiations with the football club, I think, regarding Paul Pogba's future, and over the possibility of renewing Paul Pogba's contract at the football club. Now, we do know Paul Pogba's got 2 years left on his current deal at Manchester United, with an option to extend it by a further year. Paul Pogba's not only the most expensive signing, I think he's also the highest paid player at the football club, because obviously Paul Pogba is on around 290 grand a week. So if Paul Pogba is to commit his long-term future at the football club, I think, definitely Paul Pogba, will obviously want a massive increase in his wages, and I think he'll, an estimated guess, for him to sign a new long-term contract, I think Paul Pogba would demand at least around 400 grand a week, maybe even £500,000 a week and that. But recent reports, I think reports came out the other week, and they actually said that, one of the main factor reasons why Paul Pogba remained at the football club this summer was reportedly, something to do with Adidas. Reportedly, Adidas believed, they wanted Paul Pogba to stay because it's better for them commercially. This is what it obviously said, and Adidas, intervened basically in his transfer to Real Madrid. So that's what it had basically said. But reportedly, we will demand around 170 odd million pounds for him in January. But Paul Pogba, like I said, he's a very imperative player. He's still 26 years of age. He has got a hell of a lot of development in him still. And obviously, his first choice preference throughout the course of the summer, was to make a move to Real Madrid. I still believe Paul Pogba's plans for the future, is to make a move to Real Madrid. But don't forget, Real Madrid, spent big throughout the course of the summer. I think they spent, was it 300 million or over 300 million pounds on 5 players. They did manage to sell some players, so Real Madrid, did generate, some of the money back. But I think definitely Real Madrid, will reignite their interest in Paul Pogba in January. Obviously, I think he's going to be doubt for the game against Leicester this weekend, like I said. Obviously, the other week he had to withdraw from the France squad, after he had sustained an ankle injury in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. And I did say I hope the injury is not too severe. There is a possibility chance Pogba, could be involved, but I do believe, he's a doubt and that. So obviously, reflecting on the amount of injuries we've got, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, we'll have to make quite a lot of rotations at the weekend against Leicester. But Paul Pogba will be disappointed he didn't, participate for France, because we do know he likes to represent France, because, Paul Pogba is good for France, obviously, won the World Cup and that last summer. But Paul Pogba, he hasn't only been this summer anyway, he's been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, reflecting back last summer, Paul Pogba, was subjected to a lot of transfer speculation. Obviously, reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho, and obviously Paul Pogba got one of his best wishes, of course, when Jose Mourinho left the football club and that. So in that aspect, he was really, really delighted in that. But he's now into his 4th season as a Manchester United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016, and he's been mainly inconsistent. He's won the Europa League and the League Cup with Manchester United as Pogba. But I think, if Paul Pogba, is to actually, renew his contract at Manchester United, then I think Real Madrid have obviously, they're going to see, they've got an alternative. I think they're going to go in for Christian Eriksen, and I think they're going to plan to get Christian Eriksen on a free transfer next summer, because he's got just under a year left on his contract with Tottenham, don't forget. And obviously, Real Madrid were in for Christian Eriksen earlier on this summer, but obviously, Real Madrid's preference, was actually, Paul Pogba over Christian Eriksen. But Paul Pogba confirmed earlier on in the summer, that he wanted to leave. He publicly admitted this and that. He said he was seeking for a new challenge and wanted to leave the club to rejuvenate his career. And he did actually classify, Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world. He also said at some point in his career, he does want to play for Real Madrid. But Paul Pogba's brother, he's had his overarching view on his, on his brother and that. He says, now Paul Pogba will focus on the season with Manchester United and that. But the good news is he's staying at the football club for this present time. But I already give you the reasons why he wants to leave the football club anyway, because, maybe he wants to be playing amongst better players. Maybe he's infuriated with the lack of competitiveness and that. And I did initially say anyway, if we're not competing for the top 4 by January, maybe, certain players, the club will want to leave anywhere. And maybe, he just... because obviously, again, we're not in Champions League football. That could be another main reason, why Paul Pogba, wants to depart the football club. But like I said, that's the breaking news about Paul Pogba. Reportedly, before deadline day, early on this summer, Paul Pogba had agreed, he'd agreed to leave Man United to join PSG. Reportedly, he said he agreed a £429,000 a week contract. This is also stemming from the Sun and that. But his move didn't materialise because of the Neymar saga, basically, because Neymar has obviously, remained at Paris Saint-Germain and that. So that's the latest news on that. So, like I did say, it's going to be a big game this weekend, for Manchester United. We're going we're going up against Leicester at Old Trafford and that, and it is going to be a pretty tough encounter and that. But it's very imperative, that Manchester United, do. It is very imperative, that Manchester United, do get back to winning ways against Leicester, because, we've enjoyed a very difficult start to the season so far. We've only registered 5 points from a possible 12, so we've only won 1, we've drawn 2, and of course we have lost 1. So we definitely need to get back to winning ways against Leicester. Like I did say on my video this morning, or earlier on today, was it? I did say, we could be missing up to 5 players, for this game against Leicester. Reportedly, Wan Bissaka, obviously, he had to withdraw from the England squad the other week after he sustained a back problem. Obviously, this prevented him, making his senior debut for England. And, some people believe that Wan Bissaka, has been one of our most consistent signings so far. Obviously, he is a right back and that, and he's done really, really well for Manchester United. I think he's had a fantastic start to his Man United career. Don't forget, he is a right back, but when he was actually younger, Wan Bissaka was primarily a right winger, but as he was developing, he got rotated as a right back. And I think in that aspect, he's comparable to Ashley Young, because don't forget, when Ashley Young was a lot younger, he was primarily a right winger, but as he was developing, we rotated him as a right back and that. So in that aspect, they are comparable. But Wan Bissaka's had a great start to his Man United career. I think he's got all the ingredients required to become a huge success at the football club. Obviously, we got him for around £50 million, but I think, his valuation, will grow, because if he keeps, the consistency up, and I think he will, keep the consistency up, Bissaka. And I think so far this season, with Man United, is replicating, what he did with Crystal Palace last season, because obviously he only made his senior debut back in February 2018, and he's only 21 years of age, so he has still got a lot of development in him. But I think, he could be missing the game this weekend against Leicester. If that's to be the case, I think maybe Ash Young, will get given the start again. Don't forget, Young was captaining the team in the 1-1 draw with Southampton. He was actually playing at left back, but we've also got Diego Dalot out. I think it's confirmed, he won't be involved in the game against Leicester. I think it's unknown, when he will regain full fitness. I think Diego Dalot's out with a groin problem. Diego Dalot did play throughout pre-season, but he's yet to make an appearance this season for Manchester United. Like I said as well, Paul Pogba withdrew from the France squad. Also confirmed quite recently that Jesse Lingard, had withdrawn from the England squad. Obviously, after illness. I don't know if he's going to be involved in the weekend or not. At the weekend or not against Leicester. But I think the vast majority of Manchester United fans anywhere have demanded Jesse Lingard to be dropped. Obviously, reflecting on his inconsistency, because I think he's endured a difficult start to this season. And what we've seen of Jesse Lingard so far this season, where he's replicating what he did towards the back end last season, because he was poor in the last couple of months last season. But even though he's been inconsistent, I'd still say Lingard is a long-term solution for Manchester United. So that trio could miss the game. Bissaka, Pogba and Lingard all could miss the game against Leicester. I definitely think Luke Shaw's going to be missing it. That's a guarantee, because I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer confirmed that Luke Shaw, will be out for at least another week or two, and that he did actually say when he had sustained this hamstring injury that Luke Shaw, could be out for up to a month and that. But yeah, I am very, very disappointed about that, because Luke Shaw is a very, very imperative player. He has done really, really well at the football club. And the majority of his career, he's done really, really well. He's had some rough patches, he's sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. And I think Luke Shaw is 25, 26 if I'm right. So he has still got a lot of development in him. And Luke Shaw, of course, won the double player of the season last season, reflecting on his impressive performances. But yeah, he's out with a hamstring injury, so I doubt he'll be playing against Leicester. So actually, at them full-back positions, we could see Ash Young at right back, and we could actually see Marcus Rojo at left back, because we've got quite a few full-backs out with injury and that. Obviously, in regards to Anthony Martial, I think he actually could be okay for this game against Leicester. I hope he can regain full fitness anyway. We do know that Anthony Martial has been out with a thigh injury, and I think Martial's been one of our best players so far this season, without a shadow of a doubt. And I did say, if he can, avoid sustaining any more injuries, and he can keep the consistency up, I think, he can score from at least between 15 to 20 goals this season. And Martial, he's a big part of the squad. Obviously, we do know he's primarily plays out wide, but it got confirmed at the start of the season, that Anthony Martial is being given that number 9 shirt. We do know Martial and Rashford have both played in that number 9 this season, but Martial, for me, looks more effective in that central position. But obviously, in regards to the team news and that, we'll get more updates tomorrow, when obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, does his press conference. But Martial, like I said, I think he's scored a couple of goals so far this season. He's obviously scored 50 goals for the club in all competitions. I think he actually scored the 50th goal against Wolves, and now Martial's in his 5th season as a Manchester United player. But a lot of things have improved about his game. His finishing aspect, he's got that finishing aspect now. He's getting them runs in behind more, and he's only 23 years of age and now. Don't forget, in the game against Southampton, like I said, Martial and Luke Shaw, that duo both, missed the game against Southampton. And obviously, it was Marcus Rashford that was fulfilling, obviously, Martial's role. Obviously, Young was fulfilling Luke Shaw's role and that. But, Rashford was so inconsistent in the game against Southampton. So I think reflecting on his bad performances quite recently, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer could drop him in the game against Leicester. But Rashford was very, very poor against Southampton. He was playing in that central position and he looked so isolated. He just wasn't, latching onto any of them crosses was Rashford, and he was, very, very poor. I don't even know Rashford's preferred position now, to be quite honest with you. And I know he can play centrally and out wide just like Martial can. So in that aspect, they are both comparable and that. But yeah, Rashford's received a lot of criticism from a lot of Manchester United fans reflecting on his poor performance against Southampton. Like I say, we've got Eric Bailly out. He's a long-term absence. He's out, I think, until the new year. We also know that Fosu Mensah was a long-term absence. Lee Grant is out with injury. So like I did say, this weekend, we could be without, we could be missing up to 5 players, which is actually, very, very bad news. But like I said, we usually, win against Leicester anywhere, especially at home. I think we've won 8 of our last 9 games against Leicester. At Old Trafford and that. Leicester have only won one of their last 20 league games against us. Statistically, we're, really, really good against them. And the stats show that, Leicester have only won one of their last 20 league games against us. And that result actually came back in September 2014, which was now nearly 6 years ago. Leicester did beat us by 5-3. But our away form's been poor recently. Even our home form's been poor recently. If you want to take into account towards the back end of last season and going on and leading into this season, we have lost 3 of our last 5 Premier League games at Old Trafford. So we've definitely got to get back to winning ways. And Leicester have got some, pretty decent players in their team. They've got Chilwell. I think they've got that Ngidi in that. Obviously, they've recommended quite a few signings in throughout the course of the summer. Did Leicester? Obviously, I think an estimated guess, I think Leicester spent around £90 million this summer on players. I think it's something like, obviously they got James Justin from Luton for £6 million. Obviously they played a club record fee for Yuri Tillemans, who they paid £40 million for. Obviously, they got, Perez from Newcastle, who they paid around £30 million for. And they got Dennis Pryor from Sampdoria, who they paid around £18 million for. I know recently, Leicester have lost quite a few of their imperative players in recent years. They lost, obviously, Harry Maguire this summer. They lost Rahid Mahrez last summer to Manchester City. But obviously, one of Leicester's iconic moments was obviously back in 2016. Well, it was their iconic moment, when they did win the Premier League title. But Leicester, credit them, they've enjoyed a decent start to this season. I don't think Leicester have not lost yet, so far this season. Obviously, they've registered 8 points from possible 12 in their last 4 games. So obviously, they've won 2 games, they've drawn 2. I do believe Leicester, drew with Wolves on the start of the season 0-0. They got a draw away to Chelsea, which was 1-1. They beat Sheffield United 2-1. And I think they recently, beat Bournemouth 3-1 before the international break. And I think they actually beat Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. So, Leicester have had a pretty decent start to the season. But yeah, we did the double over Leicester last season. It was 2-1 at Old Trafford, 1-0 at the King Power Stadium. But Man United have got to win this game without a shadow of doubt. If we want to keep our hopes up for the top 4 and that, even though we've had a bad start to the season, we still know there's a long way to go yet. 4 games have only gone, so there is still 34 games remaining in the season. But obviously, if this bad run of form, does continue to persist, obviously we do know that the pressure will mount up a lot more on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And plus, I think we're going to enjoy a worse season this season if the bad run of form continues than what we saw last season, because last season was bad enough. We finished 6th, we finished 32 points behind Manchester City. We failed to qualify for the Champions League, and I think in that aspect anyway, with us failing to qualify for the Champions League, that went against us in the summer transfer window. It went against us in the summer transfer window because I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, in the aspect, that he did, recommend, 3 good players to the squad and that, and and we've seen glimpses of how good, they've proven to be so far, because Daniel James has been fantastic. He's had a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. I think he actually, could start, the game from the start against Leicester. He's had a fantastic start to his Man United career. Daniel James has already scored 3 goals so far this season. But the signings we brought in, we have seen glimpses of how good they are so far. And we spent over £140 million this summer. So I'm glad that, we did address some of the problematic areas. We got that experienced centre-half in, we got that right back in. But obviously, we didn't address all the problematic areas and that. So that is an element of concern. concern. But I did say anyway, it's only been Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first summer as Manchester United manager, and obviously it was going to be extremely difficult, to address all the problematic areas in one summer transfer window. But I did say anyway, certain players at a certain calibre and level, would have had reservations about joining the football club anywhere. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, has recently confirmed, obviously, he wants to make further more investment in January, but the question is, who will he be able to get in January in that? Obviously, if we're still being inconsistent like we are now, obviously we're going to find it difficult to attract players to the elite level. But who we're going to get in January in that? That's the question. I still probably think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will stick with his transfer strategy. I think he'll still want to, like I said, want to continue with the pursuit of young homegrown players. But yeah, definitely more investment is needed in the squad. More investment is definitely needed in the squad and that. But I think, the board, Man United board, did assure at the start of the season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job should be safe for at least this season. This is what the board assured. Because obviously I think the board realised that they didn't back Ole Gunnar Solskjaer enough, throughout the course of the summer. So I think Solskjaer's been assured that he will be back in January, probably perhaps next summer. So that's really, really good in that. But I do believe, the players we was in for throughout the course of the summer anyway, will probably reignite our interest in them anyway. We may go back in for Bruno Fernandes in January. We may, if Christian Eriksen, I don't think we will go back in for him. We was only tentative links with Christian Eriksen throughout the course of the summer. Jadon Sancho, I think we'll leave Jadon Sancho up till next summer because I think he's staying at Borussia Dortmund for this season. I think with Mandzukic probably won't go back in for him because obviously we inquired about getting Mandzukic towards the back end of the summer transfer window, don't forget. Despite the fact that he's got a good career and he's got a good pedigree in that, I think the board had reservations about recommending him in anywhere. Obviously, we're reflecting on his age and that. So there was a lot of players, we went in for, throughout the course of the summer. But I think throughout the course of the summer anyway, Solskjaer had spoken about our recruitment policy and that, and analysed it, it isn't too good. But like I said, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs time, to make further more investment, into the squad and that. But I think, in the game against Leicester this Saturday, it's obviously the 5th game of the Premier League season. I think, Solskjaer will rotate a lot of them anywhere. I think, I'll credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in the aspects, that he's also got a lot of trustworthy in his young players. He has got a lot of trustworthy in his young upcoming players, and we have got a lot of young players in. We have got a lot of young players, that are developing and trying to improve at Manchester United and that. Recently, I think it was last week, obviously, Solskjaer, he actually confirmed it at the start of the season, but I think reflecting on Rashford's bad performances recently, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, is considering giving Mason Greenwood more of a prominent role at Manchester United. So, he should be assured more of opportunities, and I think Solskjaer, anyway, at the start of the season, he assured that Mason Greenwood, will get more first-team opportunities, only 17 years of age, so maybe he should get given that chance, to fulfill that number 9. Well, he has played this season, he's made 4 substitute appearances, but obviously, he hasn't played a game from the start. So I think against Leicester, Mason Greenwood does need to start. And we need to see how he can, participate in a full 90 minutes, in my opinion. But yeah, I would actually start him in the game against Leicester this weekend. With Chon, I don't think he could participate. I'm not too sure about him, but actually quite recently, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has assured that Chon will get more opportunities because obviously Chon's remained loyal to the football club. Don't forget, he had the chance to go on loan to PSV or his former club Feyenoord this summer, but obviously Chon had turned them loan offers down. I think recent reports have said that Chon has been in negotiations with a football club over a new contract and that, but Chon again is only 19 years of age and we do know he is a right winner. He's only managed 4 first-team appearances, so far since his arrival from Feyenoord back in 2016 and that. I think, but Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he doesn't believe, that we're, short of options in that attacking, line and that, because despite the fact, that Lukaku's left the football club and obviously, Alexis Sanchez has left the football club. But I do think we have got a bit more pace now up front, and that's something that's good. And obviously we didn't have that pace last season, and that was one of the main factors last season. We didn't score enough goals. But what I've seen so far this season is replicating what I saw last season. So what I mean is, I haven't really seen much improvements in that. But for me, it's not like we're playing particularly bad, we are creating the chances in that, the problem is we're just not being clinical enough in front of goal. We don't seem to have that clinical element, and this is obviously, something we do need to justify. So if we can, score more goals, that would be beneficial in that. But yeah, as Neville was saying, he believes we're on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. This is what he believes. He believes we're on the right track under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He believes, we're playing in the right way, but we're just not, scoring enough goals. So we've only managed 7 goals so far in the Premier League, this season. We've already conceded 4 goals and that. But we've got a lot of other young upcoming players in the squad. Don't forget Angel Gomez. I'm surprised, like I do keep saying, he wasn't named in the squad against Southampton. Angel Gomez. Obviously, he's another one of our midfield options. Is Gomez, and Gomez actually, I think he played a couple of games, throughout pre-season, and I think was quite impressive. But I think it didn't, as you say, he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. And in regards to Alex Tuanzebe, again, I think he's going to be a big part of the squad this season. Obviously, he's one of our centre backs. Is Alex Tuanzebe. Despite the fact that Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are our first choice centre backs, I think Alex Tuanzebe, should also get given his opportunities. Don't forget Tuanzebe was on loan, with Aston Villa last season, so in that aspect, he has gained more experience. And like I said, Diego Dalot should get given the chance, when he does regain full fitness. Jimmy Garner, he's another one of the young players. He also should get given his opportunities. But I thought the young players that played throughout pre-season, to be fair, weren't fruition. And I did say I think they'll become fruition this season. But I think, despite the fact that we've enjoyed difficult times this season, I still think, there's players that have performed well. Like I said, Martial's performed well, Daniel James has performed well, Pogba's done okay. He's had some rough patches, like I said. I think I've been impressed with McTominay this season, so far. I think he's really, really stepped up to the plate. But McTominay, was really good towards the back end of last season. I still don't know if he's a long-term solution for Man United, so in that aspect, I've got an element of concern. But he's had a great start to this season as McTominay, and he's still developing his McTominay, but when he's playing at his best, McTominay, he's good at holding his line, his defensive abilities and that are really, really good. And mainly so far this season, McTominay, has been playing alongside Paul Pogba. And to be fair, they have been blending very, very well together. But obviously, if Pogba isn't fit enough for the game against Leicester at the weekend, McTominay perhaps, could be playing alongside Matic, maybe even Fred. Solskjaer recently said, he expects to see better things from Fred this season. And that, but yeah, I've got a lot of element of concerns about our midfield. Got a lot of element concerns about our midfield. So I think, reflecting on the injuries, like I said, I think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will rotate the squad quite a lot, this weekend against Leicester. And I did say he's trying different formulas and that, which is good to see. And obviously, he'll go with different formations this season. But I did say I think on a regular basis this season, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, will go with that 4-2-3-1, because I think that's actually, that formation is his preference, that 4-2-3-1 formation, in my opinion, and that. But like I did say, I'm hopeful that it can work out under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. I'm hopeful it can work out, and I want it to work out. And I want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure at Manchester United to succeed, because, like I did say, we're not really known for a sacking club, despite the fact that 3 managers have already been sacked since the Alex Ferguson era. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era, and I did say, we haven't got the structure to keep sacking managers and that. It's just not good to see and that. But I'm just hopeful, it can work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Like I did say at the start of this season, he's obviously got to exceed expectation levels if he is to, stay at the club and, succeed at the club. Obviously, I did say this season our expectations, will be to finish in that top 4 and perhaps maybe win the Europa League or some type of silverware, because we've been lacking silverware as well in the last 6 years or so. But I did say we have got big ambitions for the future, and obviously we want to get back to winning silverware. And this is obviously something Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring back to the football club. He wants to bring that winning mentality and that fear factor back to the club, and that winning mentality and that fear factor hasn't been there, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. But I did initially say I think we'll be fighting for that top 4 at least in the next couple of seasons, because analysing our squad at the moment, it isn't good enough to win the league or even challenge for the league, and that's something obviously we've got to accept. But if we can get top 4 this season, I will overall, I'll give my analysis and say we've had a good season. If we can get that top 4, perhaps maybe win the Europa League. If we don't get the top 4, we'll have to be hopeful that we can win the Europa League. Don't forget, in the Europa League, we have got in our group FC Astana. Obviously, that's coming up after the Leicester game. I think that's on the 19th. The first leg's at Old Trafford. I think we've also got Partizan Beograd, however you pronounce the name, in our group, and I think we've also got AZ Alkmaar in our group as well. But yeah, don't forget, I think we're good enough to win the Europa League. Don't forget, we even won it a couple of years ago under the Jose Mourinho era. We beat Ajax by 2-0 in that final. But like I said, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think, does deserve a bit more time than that. In regards, like I said, I updated you earlier on this week, in regards to the director of football and that, the new director of football at Man United, don't forget, earlier on in the summer, we was in search for a new director, we was in search for a director of football, sorry, and obviously there was quite a few names, linked with the director as well. There was former Man United, some former Man United players linked to it. Don't forget, Ed Woodward had spoken, with Darren Fletcher, Patrice Everton, Rio Ferdinand, about, roles and that at the football club. And I did say at the time early on this summer, we need to recommend a director of footballing, of someone who knows, the traditions of the club, and someone who, of course, has got the experience in that. And now it's confirmed that Ed Woodward is still in search for a director of football at Man United. Now, reports indicated out earlier on this week saying that, Ed Woodward has identified Edwin van der Sar as his number one, priority, to obviously, become, the new director of football at Man United. And Edwin van der Sar, his work ethic's been really, really good at Ajax. He's good at developing players and that, and he's got that experience, and I think this is something Ed Woodward is going on and that. Edwin van der Sar, I think now he's into his 4th season at Ajax. He's obviously currently the CEO at Ajax. He's been the CEO at Ajax, since 2016, and not only that, Edwin van der Sar also knows the traditions of the football club, because don't forget, back in, he served 6 years at Man United. He came in 2005, left in 2011 and that, but it was a great goalkeeper for the football club. And I did say we need a director of footballing anyway, because we need that structural change at the club. If we'd have got that director of footballing, earlier on in the summer, then maybe, we, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, would have been back more and that. But, if we can get that director of footballing, I will happy. It's not assured, that, Van der Sar will come in as the new director of football, but there was reports circulating out this week saying that, Ed Woodward would like Edwin van der Sar, to take that director's role at Manchester United and that. But more, like I said, more additional information, where we'll update about that. I did say, we need to focus more on the incomings in January or perhaps next summer, but I still believe, we need to focus as well on the outgoings as well as the incomings. I know a lot of players now have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I know, obviously, is it around 6 or 7 now have left? Obviously, Valencia left at the end of last season after he served 10 years with Man United. We obviously know that Chris Smalling left the football club. He went to join Roma on loan. Quite a few players, have been sent out on loan. Obviously, Darmian, he left the football club to join Parma, but he went on a permanent deal. There's no loan on that. Obviously, Ander Herrera left the football club early on this summer after he served 5 years with Man United. Fellaini left the football club in January after he served 6 years with Man United. Lukaku left. Sanchez left, and that Sanchez, obviously, as you all know, got loaned out. So yeah, quite a few players have now left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer arrived. Sorry, but I still believe now there is problematic players at the football club as we speak. And obviously, we've got a lot of aged up players as well in the squad, don't forget. I actually, think, Young, this could be Ash Young's last season as a Manchester United player. Young's been here 8 years, this is Young's now 9th season as a Manchester United player. So Young's nearly been at the football club a decade. Obviously, the club gave him a new 1-year extension last season, but obviously Young is no longer our first choice right back like he was last season. But it's obviously reflecting on his age, because Young's 34. He is now, nearly 35 years of age is Young. So I think he needs to make his retirement at the end of the season, if I'm going to be quite honest here, because it's quite clear to see that he's past his sell-by date, so could leave at the end of the season. Phil Jones, one of the problematic players again, he's been here now nearly a decade. He's now into his 9th season as a Manchester United player, is Jones. We have seen glimpses of how good he can be over the years, but it's a shame we didn't get rid of Jones in the summer. I'm glad we got rid of Smalling. Smalling served 9 years at Man United. He was another long-serving player with the club. I'm surprised we didn't get rid of Jones, actually, because, I think it's pointless in being here now. Obviously, he's going to find game time difficult following the arrival of Harry Maguire, just like Chris Smalling did. That's why we got rid of Chris Smalling. But maybe in January or next summer, we need to orchestrate on getting rid of Phil Jones. Despite the fact Smalling got loaned out, we've still got 6 centre-backs in the team, don't forget. Obviously, Marcus Rojo, I think, again, he's a problematic player at the football club. I know Rojo hasn't played so far this season in the league. I know Rojo, actually, played throughout pre-season, and he was quite impressive, so I'll credit him in that aspect. But, I'm surprised Rojo didn't leave during this summer, because he was subjected to quite a lot of transfer speculation. Don't forget, Everton inquired about getting him on deadline day. Obviously, Marcelo Monaco and AC Milan also went in for Marcus Rojo, but he just ended up remaining loyal to the football club. But I think in January, we need to consider getting rid of him, or maybe next summer. And Rojo's injury prone anyway. You know, he's sustained a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player, and he's just got under 2 years left on his contract as Rojo, and I think now he's into his 5th season as a Manchester United player. But like I said earlier on in the video, he could be in line to start this weekend against Leicester, could Rojo. Obviously, you know, following the injuries we've got at fullback positions, and Rojo can play at left back, he can play as a wing back. He's primarily a centre back, but he can also play as a wing back and a left back. But yeah, his versatility is good in that back line. I think he's now 29 years of age, he's Rojo. Matic, you know, he's another problematic player at the football club. I think we need to talk shit on getting rid of him. Maybe, you know, sometime this season or next season he needs to go. Does Nemanja Matic, you know, he's too inconsistent, too slow, makes that midfielder look totally imbalanced. So yeah, another problematic player there at the football club. And like I said, we've recently, you know, heard good news quite recently in regards to David De Gea. Like I updated you on my video yesterday, you know, this was actually, you know, stemming from Adam Crafton, who was obviously, you know, an athletic journalist. This was stemming from, it was in the 101 great goals, and he reportedly said that David De Gea is on the verge of signing a new contract with Manchester United. It doesn't mention the length of what the new contract will be, but reportedly did say, you know, he's set to earn around 290 grand a week in his new deal. So in that aspect, I think David De Gea will get around a £90,000 pay rise, because obviously on his current deal at the moment, David De Gea is on around 200 grand a week. So it's looking likely David De Gea, according to Adam Crafton, you know, he's going to be signing a new long-term contract with the football club, which is good news. And obviously 290 grand a week, that means he'll be on the same basic wage as Paul Pogba. But obviously, you know, David De Gea earlier on in the summer was subject to a lot of transfer speculation. At one point, it was looking imminent that David De Gea was going to be leaving, and then obviously throughout pre-season, you know, there was a change of scenery, and throughout pre-season, it was looking imminent. He was going to be signing a new long-term contract. Supposedly, throughout pre-season, David De Gea was supposed to sign a 6-year contract, worth up to around 375 grand a week, and he did initially say that the contract would have been announced after he returned from pre-season, but obviously, you know, that didn't materialise and that. But it was only quite recently, it wasn't too long ago, before these reports said, you know, he was going to sign a new contract. The Guardian actually, you know, there were first to report on it, saying he was closer to signing a new contract. But before that, he said David De Gea, you know, was on the risk of, you know, he was on the verge, of, you know, rejecting a contract offer from Man United. And it also did say that we was at risk of losing him on a free transfer at the end of the season, because David De Gea's current contract, you know, does expire at the end of the season. So he's got under a year basically now left on his contract. Don't forget, Juventus were in for him during the summer. You know, also PSG were regarded as the favourites to get him. Real Madrid obviously, you know, have been linked to him a number of years. But yeah, you know, David De Gea, you know, he's very imperative. You know, he's been at the football club a lot of years. You know, he's spent 8 seasons with Manchester United. You know, he's now into his 9th season. I know a lot of people saying that David De Gea's like had an average 5 or 6 months and that, but he's still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world, without a shadow of a doubt. You know, De Gea's been here since the Alex Ferguson era, and I did say at full value, you know, David De Gea is worth £100 million, but you know, due to his inconsistency recently, and you know, due to that, he's got under a year left in his contract. You know, wouldn't get £100 million for David De Gea anywhere. Maybe, you know, if we can't get him a new contract, you know, and this is just, you know, certain reports, you know, justifying their existence of in regards to the new contract for David De Gea, and he does still end up leaving the club, then, you know, I think we could still cash in around £30 million for him. But either way, if we couldn't get him a new contract anywhere, we need to cash in for him in January, rather than letting go on a free transfer at the end of the season. But David De Gea, you know, has won everything he domestically. I think he's won the club's player of the year 4 times out of the 6 seasons since, you know, reflecting on his impressive performances. But David De Gea's still got a lot of development in him. You know, he's 28 years of age, so he's still got years ahead of him and that. But, you know, I did recently say, you know, we've instructed scouts, you know, to, you know, keep an eye out on Jan Blanc from Atletico Madrid, and I think Everton's Jordan Pickford. So obviously, you know, they're 2 goalkeepers in our agenda, you know, who could possibly, you know, replace him if David De Gea, you know, is to leave the football club. But we need a replacement for him, you know, if he does leave anywhere and that. If he does leave anywhere. So yeah, positive news has recently, you know, come out in regards to David De Gea and that. But like I said, my prediction, I think, Man United, will beat Leicester this weekend. I think we'll probably win it 2-1 or something. But, like I said, with the amount of injuries we've got, probably a lot of Man United fans, won't be confident in that. But all we've got to do is we've got to improve our forms a bit more, and we've got to get better results in that. And that's something, Manchester United have got to do, and it's very, very imperative indeed. But like I did say, regardless of who our manager is, I don't think anyone's going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. No, we're never going to replicate what we did under Alex Ferguson, because we had 20 odd years of success, under Alex Ferguson. But I just don't think we're going to ever be the team that was under Alex Ferguson. I did say now this team at this team at this day and age, I hope it can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But I've got doubts about that. But analysing, the majority of this squad's not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's anyway. There's only 3 players that are his. Solskjaer's still inheriting 9 of Jose Mourinho's players, because 2 of them have now left. He's still inheriting players even Van Gaal. There's still Matty from the David Moyes era and that. There's still players here from the Alex Ferguson era that Solskjaer is inheriting. So he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team. And like I said, he's got that proven pedigree as a player, because he was a great player, was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for 11 years for the football club and that, but he hasn't really got the experience of a manager to the highest level, and that's obviously an element of concern as well. But like I did say, we won't win the league for at least the next 2 seasons, in my opinion, or maybe 3. We haven't won the league, since 2013. Obviously, that's over 6 years ago now. Obviously, the last time won the league was obviously under the Alex Ferguson era. Well, he was in Alex Ferguson's last season, the last time won the league, which was 2013, like I just said. But yeah, so the main part of this video, was to give you the news about Pogba. Also give you all the rest of the news and that. More videos, will be coming up on this channel tomorrow, as always, so stay tuned in. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing, as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.